there's another question I get a lot, and I'm going to bring it up here because I want everyone to know, excuse me, is do I have to record the income from a house hack? I don't know why I get this question a lot because there must be somebody out there telling people not to record the income, but yes, any income that you get should be reported to the IRS. But also with house hacking, it is a lot more different. It depends. I have some house hackers that rent by the room. There's some house hackers that, buy one side and then are renting the other side. So it's a little more complicated for basis because you're living in one of those units. So now you can't just say, oh, I bought it for 500,000. And what about repairs and maintenance? I think for house hackers, it's also really important to definitely get a CPA.
Okay. So can we talk a little bit about those scenarios? A single family renting by the room versus maybe a duplex or triplex, and if there is a difference?
So with house hacking, it's a great, as you know, I mean, obviously, I don't have to tell you the benefits of house hacking. You can tell me that it's amazing. But from a tax perspective, what happens is now you're living in one, whether it's one room or one unit. So we'll start with the units. So let's say you buy a duplex, you're living in one and you're renting out the other. So for tax purposes, we're going to have to split that. And I'm going to just say half. But again, this is not advice. Make sure you talk to your CPA because it could vary by a lot. So we're just going to say it's a 2,000 square foot duplex. You live in 1,000 and the other one is rented. So the awesome thing is that 1,000, half of that will be able to deduct expenses, taxes, insurance, all of that will go on your Schedule E. However, the other half, you're not going to be able to do anything. So that's pretty easy. Excuse me. That's pretty easy when it's half and half because it's literally half and half. But when people are renting by the room, that gets a little more complicated because now it's like, well, I repaired the kitchen. Well, everybody uses the kitchen, including you as an owner. So it does get more complicated. We just have to dig in a little more in like square footage. And there is no tax code that I can go to and say, well, what if they replace the kitchen? Like, it's just it's very just, you just need to make educational estimates on that. So I definitely think that, especially for house hacking, it's more important than people think it's just so easy, right? I get that a lot. Well, this is easy. I'm like, well, it's not.
So if I did some sort of maintenance in the unit that I'm living in, any fixing or remodeling, that's not going to count towards a deduction for the rental property?
Correct. So any repairs or any expenses that are related to the unit that you live in are not an expense and are not going to be able to be deducted. However, it's critical though that you keep track of that because eventually most of the house hackers, their goal is to get in there, have enough money, move out, and do another rental investment, right? So we want to have those expenses as well, especially for basis purposes. Again, it's boring and it's a lot more difficult. So it's like you just need to keep track of your expenses, even though we're not able to deduct it.